With The Walking Dead and Better Call Saul ending this year, AMC really needs a prestige drama to keep people tuning in. Their near-term approach has been to expand the universe of The Walking Dead, with a number of shows on the air and more in development. One show that was really promising was Tales of the Walking Dead. In this video, we'll talk about the reception of the first 2 episodes. At first glance, Tales of the Walking Dead has a pretty promising pitch. Rather than telling a continuous story of a cast of characters, Tales is an anthology series where each episode will focus on a different group of survivors and their story. The first episode even has 2 heavy hitters in the cast, Terry Crews and Olivia Munn. There will be 6 episodes in the first season, and 2 of them have already aired. Going by the reviews, it looks like the show is failing to deliver on the promise of its anthology format. We'll begin with episode 1, which is the one with Terry Crews. The episode takes place during the thick of the zombie apocalypse. Our protagonist, Joe, was chilling in a basement with his dog Gilligan until the very much expected happens. In a zombie attack, Gilligan is killed and Joe goes into a depressive state that leads him to go out in search of an online pen pal from the pre-zombie days. He's joined by Evie, herself on a journey to see her beloved. Going by the impressions of critics, breaking out the big guns on the cast doesn't seem to have paid off for AMC, as the acting stands out as a sore spot for this episode. The writing of the characters is really uneven too, and the whole episode has this humorous vibe that makes you take the zombie situation less seriously. One criticism that was leveled at the episode was that the writers didn't take this opportunity to expand a little bit on the world of The Walking Dead. By the time things got underway in the main show, the apocalypse had already decimated the US, and Rick and company were basically rebuilding civilization from scratch. Episodes like this one, that take place during the thick of the apocalypse, could do more to shed light on how the world fell apart, so this was a missed opportunity. Still, the 2-person road trip idea was an interesting one, and the platonic relationship between Joe and Evie was a positive note for the episode. And the good thing about an anthology format is that even if one episode is weak, the rest of the episodes could be way better. Which brings us to episode 2, which is a lot more experimental. We're back in Atlanta, but we've also gone back in time. The zombie apocalypse is just getting underway, and we follow the story of Blair and Gina. Here's the first of many twists in the episode. Blair is a Miranda Priestley-type bad boss, and Gina is her browbeaten receptionist. Talk about unique dynamics. Seeing the disaster on the horizon, Blair decides to flee to an island with her fiancé. Bad bosses are bad even during zombie attacks, so she commands Gina to stay at the office until everyone leaves. Unfortunately for Gina, Blair finds her looking for snacks at a gas station, and unfortunately for Blair, Gina is packing a shotgun. A cascade of catastrophes ensues, and the 2 of them die, before waking up in the office again earlier in the same day. A Groundhog Day episode in The Walking Dead? It's crazy, right? Even if the episode weren't good, you'd have to give it credit to be the most interesting idea in this universe in like a decade. But how was the episode actually received? Better than the first one, but still not exactly a glowing response. It was an episode that leaned a lot on the characters, and thankfully, the writing and acting was a lot better this time around. But its biggest problem seems to be that it's overly long. Trying to stretch this idea to fill the time slot of an episode leads to some weird plot choices, and if you're getting annoyed at the length of the episode, these things make it worse. So, while the episode was a clear improvement over the first one, it still didn't really reach its full potential. Going off these impressions, is it worth jumping onto this show? Even though these episodes haven't been top-tier TV in themselves, it might be worth taking a look at this show simply because this is the freshest take on the Walking Dead universe that anyone has ever tried. While the other shows that AMC is coming up with seemed too concerned with just giving us more of the same, the anthology format allows Tales to feature a variety of different types of stories. Whether it's the buddy drama of the first episode or the time loop shenanigans of the second, we're already seeing a new breath of creativity in Tales of the Walking Dead. In fact, we've been looking at how creative this show is in the context of Walking Dead, but the truth is that zombies have generally been pretty passé for years now. When was the last time you saw a high-profile movie or show that was about zombies? This show doesn't just reinvigorate the Walking Dead universe, it reinvigorates the entire genre. So even if this first season isn't the show at its best, it might be worth watching just to help with the ratings. We don't think AMC will need too much convincing to greenlight this show for like 10 seasons right out of the gate, but every bit helps. On the other hand, if AMC keeps turning into the Walking Dead network, that isn't really a good thing either. We still remember the time when Breaking Bad and Mad Men, 2 of TV's best dramas, were on the air at the same time on AMC. And while shows like Hell on Wheels eventually failed, it was at least an attempt to do something interesting. So the last thing anyone wants is for AMC to become a zombie for ratings. Now in other news, what more does the world of The Walking Dead have to offer? Tales of the Walking Dead is just the latest in a wide-ranging franchise of content that spans all sorts of media. If you're a fan of the main show, or maybe you're a former fan looking to get back into the series, you might be wondering which of these spin-off projects you should check out. We'll run down some of the best ones and then talk about everything that's coming up. What you shouldn't do is watch any of the spin-off shows so far. Besides Tales, we have Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond. The latter show was torn apart by critics and only managed to get 2 seasons. The former is still ongoing, even though no one really seems to want it to. We'll also get the comics out of the way. Robert Kirkman's seminal comic book series is without a doubt the best content in the entire franchise. Even at its worst, the books soared above most episodes of the show. We heartily recommend you to read it, but keep in mind that it might be different from what you saw on the show. So the short version is that the best Walking Dead content lies in the games. That isn't a huge surprise. One of the best things about zombies is how guilt-free you can be in killing them off. They also make for a good survival horror scenario. In video games, we can't really heap enough praise on Telltale's Walking Dead games. The game comprises seasons, and the overarching story follows an original cast of characters trying to survive the apocalypse. There were 4 mainline seasons and a bonus season featuring Michonne. It might be the greatest thing Telltale ever made, even if it was what triggered their downfall. If you prefer to game on the tabletop, check out The Walking Dead All-Out War. This is a miniatures game that sees your group of survivors battling your friend's group of survivors, all while trying to avoid attracting the attention of zombies. Finally, let's take a look at 3 shows that are in development. March 2022 saw the green lighting of Isle of the Dead, a show that's set to take place in New York. We don't know much about the show just yet, besides the fact that Negan and Maggie are going to be back. The first season will have 6 episodes, and it's set to air in 2023. Meanwhile, the show's beloved Daryl will be getting a show all to himself. He was supposed to share the limelight with Carol, but Melissa McBride has departed the project. The show was originally set to air in 2023, but with Carol out of the picture, it's being retooled. Finally, if you thought you'd seen the last of Rick, think again. He was supposed to star in a series of films, but they're now being turned into a 6-episode series that will conclude his and Michonne's storyline from season 9. The series is set to debut in 2023. That's all for today's video. Have you watched the first 2 episodes of Tales of the Walking Dead? What did you think of them? Are you in line with the critics, or do you think they're coming at this the wrong way? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't shamble off without liking, sharing, and subscribing.